Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee.
You sure? It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Table Talk. It is so good to have you. Well, no, this is not Table Talk. This is the Morning Grind. Welcome to the Morning Grind. I'm confused about what time it is. Welcome to the Morning Grind. It is great to see you. I had Table Talk on the brain because, as people are saying over here in the comments, Andrew's saying, good morning. Was just watching the replay from last night. Good stuff. Brent says, good morning. Also enjoyed the replay from last night's Table Talk. Yes, last night was a fantastic conversation. If you haven't seen it live, you can watch it on replay. I was speaking with Doug Burton, who was recommended to me by Cameron Pasha because of his story structure that he's developing called the Heroine's Labyrinth. And it is, I think it's fantastic. He's looking for a publisher right now. Yeah, last night was fascinating. Okay, so more Sable Phoenix. Yeah, I saw Sable Phoenix in the comments last night. We just basically had time for him to articulate his entire theory, and like I said, it's a book that's written and is looking for a publisher right now. It's out at a publisher. So we got a preview of what that theory is. and he agreed to come back. So Brianna, I signaled Brianna on it. I knew that she wanted to watch it anyway. So I said, all right, Brianna, you're going to have to watch this conversation. And then we're going to have to get together for a discussion. And so Doug agreed to come back. I guess that will have to be on a Tuesday. Won't be next Tuesday because we're actually talking with Cameron next Tuesday. But then Doug's going to come back after Brianna and maybe somebody else has had time to digest that. And then we will do analysis on it and have questions and try to get into it deeper. Now that we understand what that theory is, in sometime reasonably soon, maybe next couple of weeks or something like that. And he also agreed to come back. He said there's other things he wants to do. He's actually also interested in the analysis of Disney princesses. And there are a couple of different ones that I wanted to go to. Of course, Beauty and the Beast we talked about. And I thought it was fantastic that, okay, we had Beauty and the Beast identified as a feminine story, and that he was extracting the sort of the meta story from Beauty and the Beast and had this supervene upon it. So I think that was really interesting. So we have this meta level extraction from Beauty and the Beast that also subsumes several other story types. So that's great. So we're going to continue our discussion of that over the next few weeks. Stargate Mind is here. Welcome, welcome. And Positive Fandom. Positive Fandom. Oh, it was such a stellar stream last night. So when I got to have to keep it up. So yes, thank you all, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at, or this morning we're going to be looking at Mausritter, which continues to be an absolutely fantastic game. We're going to start looking at the Game Master resources. So we'll be doing Game Master resources for Mausritter here in just a moment. So I can't believe, first of all, this is already Friday and this is already March 31st, which means we are all the way through the first quarter of 2020. What is this, 2023? Whatever year this is. And also another week is gone. So not sure. Yes. Mouse Knight. So yes, in case Mausritter, Ritter being German for night. So this is about Mouse Knight. Okay, let's go to the morning messages for just a second, and then we'll open up Mausritter. The Morning Grind is brought to you by World Anvil. For all the writers out there, World Anvil has all the tools to help you write, organize, present, and publish rich settings with complex characters. Write, world build, and manage your story all in a single platform. Use the code MORNINGGRIND to get 40% off yearly subscriptions. The Morning Grind is also brought to you by the Cool Name RPG. Anyone will be able to use the system for any project they can imagine, and they can do so irrevocably, perpetually, and without paying a dime to anyone, ever. Support its development now on Kickstarter. And thank you for being here with me live on The Morning Grind. And if you're watching on replay, welcome to you as well. It's great to have you here. If you're enjoying The Morning Grind, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It will really help the channel grow, and I would be very thankful. We also have the Ravenkeep Discord server you can join if you would like to be a part of the community. All right, that's what you need to know. Let's get to the main topic. All right. What I was saying at Disney Princesses, I want to take a look at Sleeping Beauty in greater detail. At one time, I should still have the note someplace. I went through Beauty and the Beast, and then also Sleeping Beauty in a fair amount of detail. And I think that Sleeping Beauty has been misunderstood, is misunderstood in today's world often. So, and he also had some thoughts on that. So we might even get together to do some more analysis of some Disney stories. Sable Phoenix says, I went and I downloaded Mausritter after yesterday's morning grind. Yeah, completely worth it. Yesterday, when we were doing the members only stream, we finished basically the players part of this. And there was, we basically just went through, went through, I forget exactly. We went through the war band. So actually there's, we went through the spells. The spells in here are fantastic. I loved the magic spells here. Because one of the problems that I have with Knave, of course, we've got an issue with magic. You know, magic's got to jive with your world. That's why magic is so hard to do, because magic, okay, it doesn't exist in our world. So if we're talking about these fantasy worlds, magic has got to exist in some way. We don't have an intuitive understanding of how magic works, so we just have to structure magic. And so a lot of these kinds of games that we've been looking at recently, and I didn't actually even realize that Mausritter went along with these so well when I was deciding, hey, let's just do Mausritter. I just kind of felt like it. are having spells take up inventory slots. And of course, something like Knave was talking about books. Now, it does say that you can make books be anything else. And I think that's a good idea because it doesn't really jive with my understanding of any type of magic that an entire spell would take up, or one spell would take up an entire book, and that you got to have like all these different books with you and stuff like that. But this kind of changes that up into something that makes more sense, even though from a gameplay perspective, it does help because it keeps wizards, if you're trying to enforce that wizards aren't wearing armor and they don't have a whole lot of other equipment, it's trying to enforce that by saying that, well, it's because wizards' inventory slots are taken up by spells. You're using the same resource inventory slots for that. And also, like in Cairn, you had to make sure that you kept open inventory slots because they became fatigued. But man, the spells and how they recharge in this game was fantastic. And then also war bands. How do you handle larger creatures in this game? Well, you do it by getting together war bands of mice, since we went over that too. So that was fantastic. So if you're a channel member, you can also watch that in replay, and you can watch the replay with the Q&A with Doug last night. So we did about another 25 minutes with Doug on a Q&A last night. So if you are a channel member, you can also see the replay on that. So, okay, we got an example of play, but I think we're going to skip by that, and we just go right back to right to Game Master Resources to see what we've got here as far as this game goes. Sable Phoenix says, any story that has a princess in an enchanted sleep or some position she has to be rescued from is misunderstood nowadays. James says, correct, the princess is rarely an actual princess. She's usually symbolic. Yeah, James says, I love these spells. I'm not a somatic kind of guy, but these are too good. Okay, so running Mausritter. Best practices. The following are guidelines for playing the role of a game master for Mausritter. Make the world seem huge. Mice are small. Be on the lookout for opportunities to remind players of the small-scale characters they are playing. Create situations, not plots. Let the players find their own adventure. Don't railroad them into a particular path. Give the players the space to choose the challenges they are interested in. Present the world honestly. As the game master, you are the eyes, ears, and nose of the players and their mice. Don't unnecessarily hide things from your players. Make sure they have all the information they need to make meaningful choices. Make the world a consistent, understandable place. Don't shy away from magic and weirdness, but maintain a logic behind them that can be decoded. Be an impartial arbiter of the game rules and the world. Let the dice fall where they may. Follow the goals and actions of the antagonists to their logical conclusions. Of course, this does sound very algorithmic, right? So your goal is to impartially apply rules, let dice fall where they may, and make the goals of antagonists logical. Oh, we didn't sip. Let's breathe and sip. I'm saying here, let's do that for just a moment. Everybody got your drink with you? I got my drink with me this morning. So 2 deep breaths. Deep breaths in, complete exhales, and then everybody, let's take a sip of your favorite beverage right here, right? Here we go. Everybody do it together. Focus on breathing. Take just 20 seconds to focus on breath right now. Ah, good, good. Okay, give the players ample warning of the dangers they face. Make traps obvious, deadly puzzles. Give warnings of the dangerous beasts that hunt the mice. Don't pull your punches. The only way for danger to be meaningful is if the outcome of failure is meaningful. When the players face off against dangerous foes or fall into a deadly trap, do not shy away from the consequences. Reward bravery. When the player's been smart and brave, followed by good deeds, give them the rewards they have earned. Don't be miserly when the players face down great dangers and succeed. So this one is probably, it says, save should only be asked for as the result of a player's action or choice. Oh, okay, well, that starts off that way. Because we know that actually saves are going to be very difficult to make because we rolled 3d6 for our stats, and we only have 3 stats. But we only got to pick 2. We picked the top 2. We dropped the lowest one. That means that our stats are between 2 and 12. So our stats are much lower, but we're in a roll under system. We're going to take a d20 and try to roll equal to or under that stat. So that means the possibility that you're going to fail is strong. Now, as you level up, you can potentially increase that. Your stats can increase, but it's a first level mouse. And I also love the grit mechanic, by the way, as you level up. But as you begin, you're going to be failing, I think, a lot of saves. Let me come over here. Tomocrat says, "Morning. I was watching part 1 until I got to the notification. I like what I see so far." Okay, so these saves, because they are going to be failed, I think, so often, saves should only be asked for as the result of a player's action or choice. Mice can do anything that seems reasonable and safe, but when they do something dangerous, ask for a save to avoid the possible consequences. So don't have a save be invoked for some reason that is outside the player's control. The players have done something, they've done something dangerous, and now they need to avoid the consequences. So we only have strength, dex, and will. Avoid harm through physical power and endurance. Avoid harm through quick reaction, speed, and agility. Avoid harm through strength of will and force of personality. So we're not rolling to change the world. Right? I've been talking about, okay, we've got some abilities which are going to allow us to alter the world, and then maybe we have some type of defenses that keep the world from altering us. So all of these are defenses to keep the world from harming you in some way. So you are supposed to let players do things. Consequences of failure. The consequences of a failed save should be obvious and telegraphed. Remember that saves should only occur when a player wants to avoid a negative outcome. Some options for consequences are damage, ranging from D4 to D20. D4 is minor. Hey, but we said that can still take you out. Because remember, you could only have 1 hit point. You only got D6, I think it's called hit protection here. Only 1. And then if you take damage beyond that, it goes to your strength. And anytime you take strength damage, you have the possibility that you are critically injured. D6 is dangerous. D8 is enough to seriously injure a level 1 character. D20 damage is rare but deadly. That could be extremely deadly. You could take somebody from full health to complete, or full health and hit points all the way out with that, with no save necessary. Condition: exhausted or frightened are good options. Lost time: each action takes a turn. Lost time can burn torches and cause random counter rolls. Loss of random item: roll D6 for inventory slot. Mark usage on an item. Mark 1 to 3 usage dots. And I've still been thinking about the magnetic character sheet. The problem is I do like the cards to convey more information. But maybe in this game, maybe you just don't need more information about the different items. Sable Phoenix says, interesting that they swapped fort con saves with strength saves, but the strength in this game functions essentially as your con, so I guess it makes more sense. Yeah, I don't remember if I said that. So strength is avoid harm through physical power and endurance. Physical power and endurance. Well, I guess it does make sense when you're talking about saving, because I said that oftentimes it seems like your strength is something that is an attribute of yours that allows you to do something to the world. I want to change the world. How am I going to do it? I'm going to do it through my strength. But that very rarely, if ever, do you say, I want to change the world. How am I going to change the world? I'm going to change it through my constitution. Most of the time, the constitution is something that keeps the world from impacting you, which is one of the reasons I'm not so big on the 6 classic Dungeons and Dragons stats, even though they're used all the time, because they're not all the same. To me, if they're going to be like the same category of objects, is this external, something that you're using to affect, or is it internal, keeping you from being affected? But then strength in this game functions essentially as your con. So yeah, you're not going to have to roll a strength save in order to do something with your strength in this game. You're only going to have to roll it in order to avoid harm. Same with dex and will. Because how are you going to change the world with your will? But you can avoid harm through strength of will and force of personality. And I get that. Luck rolls. Luck rolls are for events that have an unpredictable outcome. Luck rolls are for events that have an unpredictable outcome is outside the remit. That might be a strange. Is outside the remit of strength, dex, and will save. Assign an X and 6 chance of the outcome occurring, low for unlikely, high for likely, then roll a d6. The result is equal to or less than the chance it happens. Rulings. The rules of Mausritter will not cover every situation you and the players come across, and some parts can be kept intentionally vague. When this happens, adapt one of your existing tools for the purpose, create a new one, make a note of the ruling for future use. Okay, exploration and time. This is going to explain the turn tracker, because I said that there was a GM time tracker that came with this. It probably looks just about like that, but in the download folder, in addition to the character sheet, there's also this GM session sheet. Here, let me just bring that up. Let me go over here. We'll just take a look at a couple of different things over here. Oh, stop screen, present, share screen. So this right here. So this is another thing that comes with the download. Turn tracker. Night watch, morning watch, afternoon watch, evening watch. Because we were told there are 4 watches to a day. Okay, so this is on any particular day. We do have player mice, a place to keep for the game master to keep up with, I guess, the stats of the player mice. Strength, dex, will, HP, and then if they're injured, drained, or encumbered. Okay, turn tracker. Each turn when players are using a torch or lantern, mark T or L in the turns box. When 6 boxes are marked, tell the player to mark usage on their light source. So we got sunrise right here, noon, afternoon, sunset. In a dungeon, roll d6 for encounter every 3 turns. Encounter, roll for type. Omen of encounter, roll for type. In the wilderness, roll d6 for encounter at sunrise and sunset. If an encounter or omen is rolled, roll d20 to find the hour. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 24. 24 different hours in a day. 4 watches in a day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 turns to the hour. So that lets you track every single turn in a day and how it's being spent. It kind of reminds me of the time tracker in, we looked at the Blade Runner RPG, and the Blade Runner RPG did have a worksheet as well, because you're supposed to be using time in that game, like I say, which is, I believe, is underused in general in RPGs. But the Blade Runner RPG did have time, and the game master tracked it like with different shifts and things like that. So I think there were 3 shifts during a day or something like that. So it was a bit different. But the games were supposed to take place over just a certain number of days, and the players only had a certain number of shifts in order to complete their objective, or things changed if they weren't done by a certain time or something like that. So in principle, I do like that. Hey, Zero the Blade. And Zero Theory. Yeah, hello, both zeros. Sable Phoenix says, yeah, I have my own problems with the D20 system, and the core stats are one of them. Mausritter already makes more sense. Sable Phoenix says, I wonder why no game that I can think of has tried to have passive and active attributes. Well, Knave was doing that. Well, okay, so I mean, Knave gave each one of those, even though it was using the classic 6, it was using, here's your bonus. If you are trying to actively do something in the world with this stat, then you roll a d20 and add your bonus. If you are trying to use this stat to keep the world from affecting you, you had a defense. So it had both for all of those. But that's what I was trying to do when I was working with Faded Edge, that we'll get back around to. I was like, I was thinking that you need to divide that. You need to divide the ones that you use to interact with the world. So anytime you are trying to accomplish something in the world, here are the attributes, the different ways that you can accomplish something. And then that means that these are the ones that you resist. But sometimes it might be the case that an attribute could be both. And in which case, the knave system of having both a bonus and a defense for every stat makes sense. So I was still trying to work my way through that. Con and wisdom would be passive attributes. Strength and charisma would be active. Right. Con, wisdom. If you have will, then will would seem to be passive. Bacterial Ash says, you might have said this before elsewhere, but do you have a preferred set of stats yet, Heath's Geekverse? No, not one that has been completely formalized. Because I'm generally in favor of less stats rather than more. So just GURPS, when you're talking about dexterity, strength, intelligence, and dexterity, strength, intelligence, and health. It has dexterity, strength, intelligence, health. But then I think that its lost stat might be will. So something like 4 or 5 or something like that is the direction that I was going. James says, I dislike rolling random stats like birth and genetics play a part. Yes, but you can sharpen any attribute through appropriate training, even con if you want to build immunity. My problem with the randomness is that if you've got a person who wants to play a certain thing, I want them to kind of be able to play that thing. Now, sometimes the stats, you can play whatever you want to play, even if your stats are random. But if somebody sits down and they don't get to play very often and they really want to play, for instance, in D&D, a paladin, even though I have all problems with first level paladins aside, if that's what they want to sit down and play and they don't get to play very often, then I want them to be able to play. I don't want the random stats to get in their way. Let's also, while we're looking at this, looking at other things, there is an item sheet for you to print off. So again, we got the problems with paper, but we could print these off on something magnetic, or there are probably places, I think you could probably send it to a print on demand place and actually have cardstock tokens made from them. So improvised weapons, stones. See, this is much better. This is superior to the Cairn one because this actually gives you some information about it. Marker usage. Like I said, you might not need more, but it does give you its name. Like you didn't even have the name of the object on the little cards for Cairn. But this gives you the damage as well, because I would want you to be able to see everything that you need to know about that item by looking at your character sheet. So it does come with all of these. Torches, lanterns, pip purse. Of course, now if they're just paper, then you probably don't care too much about actually marking them physically, because you can get a new one so easily. These over here, these are your spells. Because the spells are these runic tablets that you're supposed to carry. And here are condition cards as well. So exhausted. This is the default choice for conditions given to mice that go without rest or as a failure consequence for physical exertion. So exhaustion is clear after long rest. So we've got lots of exhaustion cards. So frightened, given to mice who face particularly terrifying creatures or magic. Frightened, will save to approach source of fear. Clear after a short rest. Hungry, given to mice who go a day without consuming a ration. Hungry, clear after a meal. Injured, a serious condition, given to mice who take critical damage or serious physical injury. So injured, you are disadvantaged on strength and dex saves, clear after a full rest. And a full rest, remember, was a week at home or a week in a safe place. So there was short rest, long rest, but then a full rest, that's a week in a safe haven. Drained, a serious condition given to mice who fail at spell casting. Spell casting was again dangerous in this. So drained, disadvantage on will save, clear after a full rest. and then create your own conditions. Write something simple and evocative for the mouse's current predicament. So you also get that when you download this. Let me bring up the rules again. Sable Phoenix says, my game designer brain is starting to churn. What if you had passive and active stats? On top of that, roll for your base genetics stat. But then on top of that, you had a certain number of training slots you could use your experience and training to improve. So, for example, every stat had a maximum of 10, 5 of which were inherited and the other which were trained, just off the top of my head. Now, Hackmaster does something sort of like that. Now, you could say roll something, and then I think that you could do both of those. You could say, here, roll. Well, I mean, you could even do something like we're doing here in Mausritter. Roll 3d6 for each one. Choose the highest 2. And that's your base that was inherited by the character because of genetics. Now take some other number of points and distribute among them because that represents what you wanted to develop. So you could do that. But for instance, Hackmaster, for every stat, I don't remember exactly how you were generating each stat. It was probably 3d6 straight down. But every stat also has an associated D100 with it, so that you don't just have a D100 percentile with it, and that tells you how close you are to the next number. So if you're strength 13 over 71, you're 71% of the way to having a strength 14. But also, when you generated your character, you generated your current scores and your genetic maximum. Your whatever maximum you could possibly have, you also generate that. So you're not at your maximum. But then during your level up and your training and things like that, you can increase your scores, but only up to your genetic maximum. James says, I've just been developing a character generation element that accounts for ancestry for this reason. You role play your ancestors in very specific quick scenarios to get a genetic memory. Then you apply the modifier of the genetic memory to your character and go from there. Kind of like a hybridized character funnel and traveler method, but with more control. Okay, so exploration in time. How do we use that? So we got off taking a look at some of the other things that were in the download, but we were looking at exploration in time. When exploring in a dungeon or an adventure site, a party of mice can perform one major action per turn. Major actions are things like moving to a new room, examining a trap, or engaging in a fight. To easily record turns, use the turn tracker on the GM sheet. Each time the party performs a major action, mark the next empty box. Traveling over land. When traveling in the wilderness, the mice can travel a single 1 mile hex per watch. And I wonder if we did a whole lot of like pacing of mice to figure out exactly how far they can go. Hexes containing difficult terrain, streams, human roads, large rocks, hills, etc. require 2 watches to cross. Rest. If the mice do not spend at least 1 watch per day resting, give them an exhausted condition. Weather. Roll 2d6 for the weather each day. Weather that is highlighted are poor conditions for travel. For each watch spent traveling under these conditions, a mouse must make a strength save or gain the exhausted condition. The weather that is highlighted are poor conditions for travel. So 2d6. Oh, we got spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Rainstorm, thunderstorm, winds, wild winds, snowstorm, drizzle, very hot, heavy rain, sleet, bitter cold. Clear and warm, beautifully warm, clear and crisp, clear and crisp. I used to see more things like weather being generated. I think weather was generated in MERP. It's been a long time since I've seen that. Encounters. When the mice are exploring a dungeon or adventure site, roll encounters every 3 turns, whether they create noise or mayhem that could draw attention, or whenever they do that. When they are exploring the wilderness, roll for encounters at the start of the morning watch and the end of the evening watch. If an encounter occurs, roll d12 to find out what hour it is in. To roll a random encounter, roll d6. On a 1, the encounter occurs. On 2, it's an omen sign, hints signs or hints of an encounter. Yeah, we said on the other one, we saw encounters or omens. So I guess we're going to see that here in just a moment. Encounter tables. For each major area, prepare a table of d6 encounters that express the theme of that area. Give each entry something that they are going to do as the players arrive. Entries 1 to 3 should be variations of a common encounter. 4 to 5 should be variations of an uncommon encounter. Entry 6 should be a dangerous or weird encounter. Reactions. When the mice encounter a creature whose reaction to the party is not obvious, like the cats probably attack, you may roll on the following table for their disposition: hostile, unfriendly, unsure, talkative, or helpful. So just because you're rolling a random encounter doesn't mean that you're actually going to be in battle. Morale. Wherever an antagonist is in battle with the mice reaches one of the following conditions, it must make a will save. On failure, the creature must flee or surrender, is obviously outmatched at the start of the battle, takes critical damage for the first time, sees an ally flee or fall. Creatures. As a general rule of thumb, the more closely related two creatures are, the more likely they are to understand each other. Magic or highly intelligent creatures may break these rules. Other mice can easily communicate. Other rodents can speak and communicate with some difficulty and difference of custom. Other mammals make a will save to see if communication is possible. Otherwise, can't directly communicate. Oh, here we've got our bestiary. Use these creatures in your campaign as examples for creating new antagonists for your players. When a creature gets critical damage in its stat block, this occurs instead of the standard critical damage effect. Oh, so yeah, that was also a Karen thing, that you're supposed to use that for some kind of special ability or a special way to attack. So example, a spider attacks Burdock, the mouse, and does 4 damage. The Burdock has 2 HP, so 2 of the damage is passed on to its dex. Burdock, because I guess spiders go to dex, their damage goes to dex instead or something. Burdock must make a dex save but fails, so the spider quickly wraps him up in his web and starts to escape. Hopefully, Burdock's friends are quick in their pursuit. It's a big spider or a small mouse, right? Okay, so cats. We won't look at all these, but cats seem to be a big deal. Warband scale. So this tells us there were specific rules that happen when you're not an individual scale. You're actually in warband scale right here, which means that an individual mouse isn't going to be able to do much to a cat or anything, actually, probably according to the rules. You actually have to go and recruit your warband, which is like 20 mice, to take on one of these cats. So 15 HP, strength 15, dex 15, will 10, armor 1, attacks d6, swipe, d8 bite. So the cats are a big deal here. Wants to be served. If mice pledge fealty and give bribes, they may be allowed to live. Cat lords. Balthazar loves to eat the finest delicacies. Melchior loves gold, jewels, and wealth. Solomon plays cruel games with captives. Hammurabi rules with harsh, unbending logic. Nefertiti loves art, poetry, and beautiful things. Zenobia, forming an army of conquest, wants to rule. Huh. Yeah, the cats are the equivalent to dragons in this game. This is awesome. This is great. So elegant. I love elegant game systems. Like Savage Worlds is another system that feels elegant to me, but it's crunchier than Mausritter. And for some reason, how you play Savage Worlds just does not stick with me. I do have the Pathfinder Savage Worlds book sitting over there on the shelf. So that's in the stack of physical things we've got to look at. So one day we're going to take a look at the Pathfinder Savage World system. Bacterial Ash says, I'm not a member yet, so I missed yesterday's stream for spells, but having just gotten the PDF and reading through them, they are absolutely fantastic. Yes. And everything you're showing now is great too. What a truly impressive design achievement. I love how the cats just want to be served. Sable Phoenix says, I mentioned yesterday that I never even looked at Mausritter because it's anthropomorphic animals. Lesson learned. Never judge a book by its cover. Oh, hey, Retro Nerd Girl. Good to see you. Welcome. Everybody check out her channel as well. This game is so charming, she says. It completely is. I completely agree with you, James. James says, I feel like literally everyone could learn something from Mausritter regarding the design. So we got centipede, crows, frogs, frog knight errant, chilling centipedes. We've got fairy here. Fairies want to further the fairy queen's strange agenda. Fairy agendas: kidnapping baby mice to raise as their own, giving gifts that cause violent jealousy, playing music that bewitches mice to mice into their service, using a glamour to appear as a mouse in distress. What was that? I heard a noise. Frog Night. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. I have something else up because I run through StreamYard and I run through Streamlabs. So actually, I think what we just heard, did you hear that noise? That noise, Rob Lilly just subscribed. So I don't have the thing where we come up to where, because I'm not running through that software, but I was trying to look through the software at the Streamlabs software because I might start running the members only streams through that. And I just so happens that I had that up. And there was that noise, and that told me that somebody just subscribed. So we just had a new subscriber. So Rob Lilly, welcome. Welcome, Rob. So that is awesome. We have a new subscriber here. Yeah, Frog Knight Errant. Hey, I want to look at that one too. Wants to gallantly complete their quest. Frog Knight Errant Gwal, strong, kind-hearted, and simple of mind. Philip, cursed human, cursed human looking for a cure. Lurf, unsound sense of honor, rash in anger. Slurp, set on slaying a great beast, no matter the cost. Ooh, desperate to prove their strength at jousting. Puck, searching for the legendary mug of truth. Ghosts, we definitely have the fantasy element in here, which wasn't immediately obvious actually earlier on, I think. Ghosts, only harmed by silver or magic weapons, freedom from the pain that binds them to the mortal realm. Ghostly powers, shimmer. Poltergeist throws a creature or object d6 times 6 inches. Entrap, doom, rot, incorporeal. So here's another mouse, wants to feel safe. Thistle, a disgraced knight, still haughty. Rival mouse adventurers. Belladonna, off-kilter wizard looking for spells. Hayseed, trying to steal enough to buy back their farm. Mandrake, con artist, appears unthreatening. Marigold, loves fire, fears its absence. Leaf, massive mouse exiled from a faraway land. Oh, owls are sorcerers? Owls want to collect rare knowledge and spells. Rats, easy wealth to take from the weak. Wants easy wealth to take from the weak. Snake, wants to sleep undisturbed. Oh, bone snake. Snake skeleton raised from the dead. Drake has wings, breathes small gouts of flame. Scroll, born with a spell etched into its scales. Here's the spider. Critical damage, carry away in web. Did we see oh yeah, snake is critical damage, swallow whole, d4 strength damage per round until rescued or escaped. Oh, ghost, critical damage, possess the creature. But spider will carry away in its web. Blink spider, wolf spider. I don't know how effective this tool, this weapon right here is, unless it's like a man catcher or something, but still not quite right. Hex Crawl Toolbox. Now, I wonder if we're going to have some really great material here for making a hex crawl. Sable Phoenix getting some Secrets of Nim vibes around with all these other creatures. I need to watch that movie again. Daniel says that's what I was thinking. Hex Crawl Toolbox. Making a hex crawl. Fill hexes. Start with a 5x5 map of 1 mile hexes. Place a friendly settlement in the center. Fill the remaining hexes. Roll on the hex contents table or use them as inspiration. Write a 1-line description for each hex. Create factions. Optional. Factions are the major powers within your hex crawl. They help set the stakes for the player's choices and to create the feeling of a living world going on outside the game session. Detail adventure sites. Adventure sites, page 34 to 41, are adventurous places where the brave adventurers find the wealth they seek. Where settled mice, more careful and less desperate, do not dare to scurry. Pick 2 to 4 of the landmarks and detail them as adventure sites. Spread them out to give players good reason to crisscross the map. Decide the theme for each, then fully detail one of them. You can detail the others now or wait until the players are closer to encountering them. Seed rumors. Create a table. This is different from rumors about pips, I suppose. Sable Phoenix says, oh, the books are better. I think talking about the Secrets of Nim. They didn't actually have magic in them. Create a table of D6 rumors. As the players explore adventure sites or rest and settlements, use this table to give hints of the other locations and of the activities and factions within the hex crawl. Entries 1 to 3 should be true. Entries 4 to 5 should be partially true. And 6 should be false. Create encounter table. Based on the factions you've chosen and other inhabitants of the area, choose a table of D6 encounters following the structure outlined on page 21. In the first session, pick one of the adventure sites you've detailed and start the players at the entrance. Give the players a reason why they should care about that adventure site. Use the backgrounds of their mice and theme of the adventure site as hooks, or use the table below if you're stuck for ideas. So the first time you get to play, you get to start at the adventure site. Searching for a lost family member, investigating on orders of a noble mouse. Mouse Wizard requires a certain spell component. Site is lair of a creature harassing a settlement, following an inherited treasure map, seeking shelter from a terrible storm. So exploring the map. Once the players are done exploring the adventure site, or you need to retreat back to friendly place for supplies, show them a blank version of your map. Mark the friendly settlement and the adventure site, plus a couple of other well-known places. Allow the players to find their own way through the map. If the players of mice move through each hex, they should automatically encounter the major landmarks you've created as long as they are fairly obvious. Expanding the map. As the players uncover new leads and the world changes around them, create some more adventure sites and start expanding the map. Hex contents. Okay, so what have we got here? For each hex on your map, choose or invent hex type, landmark depending on hex type, an interesting detail for that landmark, and a 1-line description of that hex. So our hex type is countryside, forest, river, or human town. And then our landmarks, countryside, forest, river, human town. Drain pipe outlet, high waterfall, grove of ferns, old craggy oak, steep hill, overgrown ruins in the forest. Landmark details. So a D6 and a D8. Mouse settlement. Mouse hermit hut. Hedge Knight tower. Crow Coven's spire. Abandoned settlement. Fairy ring. Ancient bat cult temple. What was summoned? Strange magical anomaly. And why is it spreading? Bacterial Ash says, no way. If this thing innovates on hex crawl to the point where I'm enjoying it, I'm going to move mountains to play it ASAP. Settlement details. What habits and customs do the mice have? D20 are inhabitants, and why is this what sets this settlement apart? Cities have 2, such as believe grooming their fur is bad luck, or ornate gate guarded by statues, hidden riverboat dock, Maze of defensive, trap-filled tunnels. Wear large, wide-brimmed hats. Settlement size. Most mouse settlements are no more than a handful of families in an oak hollow or an old farmhouse wall. Roll 2d6 and use the lowest value. Governance. Most settlements pay taxes to and are protected by the local noble mouse. Free settlements keep their own guard. Roll d6 plus settlement size. 1 for farm, 6 for city. Guarded by village elders, administered by a knight or lower caste lord, organized by guild committee. Free settlement governed by a council of Bürgermeister, or seat of baronial power. Why do the mice work? What trade do the mice work? Towns and cities have two. What's happening as the player mice arrive? Con man whips up an irrational scheme. Several children have gone missing. Storehouse has been plundered by insects. Settlement name seeds. Roll d12 twice. Choose a start and an end. Massage until it sounds nice. So like Willowthorpe, or Willowville, or Stone Farm, or Moontown, or Moon Pond. Taverns and inns. Hamlets and larger settlements will furnish a friendly tavern or inn for locals and traveling mice. So the Green Eagle, the Wily Colonel, or the Wily Fox. Specialty meal, fresh buttered bread, baked apple, fried crumpled insect legs, pungent aged cheese. Okay, so factions. We're supposed to make this seem like a living world, right? For factions that are large forces outside the control of player mice, they help create a feeling of a living world. Pick or create 3 to 4 factions to be the major powers within your hex crawl. Using factions. Factions have goals that they're trying to complete and resources they can utilize toward the goal's completion. Goals should interact with other factions or compete for similar resources. Resources reflect the power and influence of the faction within the world. Each goal requires 2 to 5 progress marks to be completed, depending on its complexity. Factions with at least 3 resources are capable of fielding a warband. So I told you that warband is kind of a different level of play where you've got 20, you're leading 20 mice. Goal progression. Between sessions, each faction will work toward their current goal. Roll d6, then adjust the value. For each relevant resource the faction has, add 1 to the result. If a rival faction is targeted by the goal, subtract 1 from the result for each of the factors of that faction's relevant resources. On a final result of 4 to 5, mark 1 progress toward the goal. On a 6, mark 2 progress. When a faction completes a goal, add a new resource to represent their increased power and influence. If the goal reduces another faction's power and influence, remove or change one of its resources. As factions work towards and complete their goal, update your map to show waning and waxing power, and add hints of current events to your rumor table. Player interference. As the players interact with factions, show signs of the current goals they are working towards. Players should have opportunities to interact with the factions to thwart or to help them complete their goals. Factions may attempt to recruit the help of players, and players may interfere with the faction's progress. If the players successfully help or interfere in the completion of a goal, mark or erase 1 to 3 progress marks depending on the scale of the player's interference. If players directly attack a faction and significantly affect their power, this may require you to remove or re-roll a faction's resource. So here are some factions. It's not just other mouse. Massage until it sounds nice. Words to live by. Bacterial Ash says, this faction stuff is great again. The world has been used so much by now. The world has been used so much by now that it might lose all meaning, but this game is... the word has been used so much by now that it may lose all meaning, but this game is elegance defined. So we've got Cat Lord, Rat Bandits, Noble Mouse, Fairy Queen, Clutch of Snakes, Tunnelers Guild, Owl Sorcerer, Cultists, Frog Prince, Coven of Crows. So resources include terrifying presence, hired mercenaries and bandits, exorbitant wealth. Goals: raise bribes from settlements, kidnap mouse servants, subjugate a settlement, tunnelers guild, rough-pawed work gangs, intimidate tax collector, destroy a noble mouse's manor, establish free settlement. The Fairy Queen, hidden roads and portals are the resources. Shape-shifting agents, endless illusory silver. Kidnap mice, trick mice out of legal standing. Lead settlements into Fey lands. Owl sorcerers have powerful magic, speed and fury, and magical servants. Take scrying towers from crows. Locate ley line vortex. Harness the vortex's power. Cultists are supposed to summon an ancient god. Poorly understood eldritch power. Clandestine insiders. Recruit vulnerable mice. Steal powerful artifacts. Summon ancient god. Here is an example hex crawl, the Earldom of Ek. So here is our hexes. Right here. So encounters, dead rats. I don't know what that is. Roll on adventure seeds tables. D6 sugar cultists on a clandestine mission. Cat Lord Balthazar out hunting. Rumors. Balthazar is kidnapping mice to make him food. Many trees north of Oak Grove have been felled. The Earl of Ek has fallen ill and has no heir. A wolf ate all the mouse at Black Rock Stand. Fairies have a castle in the forest east of Oaks Grove. The cult of sugar knows the secret of everlasting life. So here are Balthazar's Gate 8. That's where the cat is. Where's 8? Oh, right here. Gate to the barony of Balthazar. Mice who venture past this point are rarely seen again. Ant Kingdom. 3 ant kingdoms constantly at war. Will pay well for mercenaries and assassins. Waterfall Cave. A secret entrance to the fairylands hidden behind a waterfall. So they've definitely packed sites of interest in a lot. What is 3? 3 is logging field. Fields of sawdust and felled trees. Sounds of screaming machines can be heard during the day from neighboring hexes. Good morning, Neutromancer. Sable Phoenix says, so when are we going to put together a Geekverse Mausritter online game? Well, we put in, actually, did I drop the... Discord? There is a looking for game part of Discord. If people are looking to put together a Mausritter game, somebody could post in the looking for game section there. Sounds like there are a lot of people who are interested in playing. Oh, so the dead rats are a rat gang. Okay, Balthazar is the cat lord, and then Lord Larkspur is a noble mouse. Adventure Site Toolbox. How much time have we got left? And what have we got left here? Randomly stocking rooms. Treasure. I kind of feel like, there's still quite a bit here. And it seems like actually so it seems like maybe we should do a third day on Mausritter. So I guess we will be back at this tomorrow because I kind of want to start something else fresh. So the Adventure Site Toolbox, I don't want to just go into this for like 3 minutes or something like that. So I think that next time then we will start with the Adventure Site Toolbox. We'll do that starting tomorrow morning. So I do want to go. Has anybody seen John Wick 4? I want to go see John Wick 4 on Sunday. So we should also at some point probably talk about John Wick 4. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. I really enjoyed it. I've had a great time this morning. I'm going to sit here and try to get more stuff done. Yeah, so it looks like day 3 of Mausritter. I kind of like this new approach of just trying to starting a game and then just going all the way through it. We bounced around between a lot of games. We're talking about how do we actually play the games early on. So there are even other games to return to that we've looked at before that we never actually went all the way through. But then again, I've got some other things as well. Oh, look at this, what I got. This came in. On the Discord server, we were talking about the rules cyclopedia. I want to talk about the rules cyclopedia at some point too. So I got a hard copy of the rules cyclopedia. So this should be some hardcore old school types of stuff right here. Because I don't think I've ever looked really at the Dungeons and Dragons stuff that wasn't advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So plenty more to look at. You're very welcome, James. You're very welcome. So I will see everybody at 9:30 in the morning tomorrow for part 3 of Mausritter. Thank you all so much for being here. And like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please do. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody, be productive, be creative. And until I see you tomorrow, grind on.